Hey everybody. I was just thinking about life and sobriety and mental health. And it's kind of the same thoughts that I've been thinking about for a while. Like it's all on us if we're going to do it or what we can do. And that's really at the end of the day, it's up to us, like how much we are going to believe that we are worth whatever. And if you don't set like the parameters of your personality and if you don't define yourself, like your discernment and your parameters of what you're going to accept and who you're going to be and who you're not going to be, you have to define those for you because those are going to be defined. And it's either going to be we are defining ourselves for ourselves, or something outside of us is going to um, make those labels and define us, and it is going to dictate the terms of our life either way. And so it's going to be like us in control or something outside of us controlling us, because we couldn't know who we were, or even like try to live with a little bit of like discernment and saying, no, this is what I am, this is what I am not. And you have to have a degree of self-worth to trust yourself enough to make those decisions. And if you don't think that you're like worthy or capable or whatever, then those decisions, it's going to be from the outside in. Like we're going to be told who we are, and it's going to be the truth because it's going to be what we're living, and it's all because we didn't decide for ourselves. And I was thinking about Britney Spears, and I hesitate to talk about her because um, I want to talk about her because she's a someone that we all like know. Not, of course, we don't know her like, but we know who she is. So she's a good example. And I mean, nobody really knows anybody. We barely even know ourselves. Like if we're lucky, and that takes like years, decades, if not a lifetime, to get to know ourselves. And once again, that's if we're lucky. But I want to use her because it's like, God, sometimes I just wish like I could call her and be like, hey, I see a lot of myself in you. Please let me do some kick ass things with you. It's like frustrating. I want to shake her and be like, you have the money to like go to Fiji, go to Egypt, go to the catacombs of Paris, oh my God, off the top of my head, go to Burning Man. I mean, you could like put on a hat and a wig, and I mean, whatever, you can do things. Yeah, you'd be noticed, but celebrities do things all the time. It's because they can afford to do things. She could go anywhere and do anything. And I know that she's unwell, and it just pisses me off because this is why I'm talking about Britney, because nobody knows her and nobody knows anybody. So she needs to know her damn self. And I know that's really hard to do for child actors because it's a whole world that is fucked up. I mean, like peaking as a child or even as a teenager. I heard that actors and entertainers and celebrities kind of get stunted at the age at which they became famous. And that makes a lot of sense because at that point, it's like you ceased having people around you who'd be like, no, this is not in your best interest. No, don't do that. You're just surrounded by yes men constantly. And um, shame on that judge, man, for I do not know how there wasn't some type of parameter set into place where it's like, okay, you know, this is going to need to be a transition. You've been under conservatorship for quite some time. And, if it was all like, oh, that totally unnecessary, she's being detained and trapped, well, then someone needs to go to jail, if they were like keeping her prisoner. But, you know, at the same time, clearly she was on medications, and it's not like under the conservatorship she like was kept like Rapunzel, up high in the clouds, like in a loft somewhere. You know, she was a working mom. You were always seeing pictures of her family vacations, like to Mexico or wherever with her family, with her children. She was working the Vegas residency, and she was well. You know, maybe she wasn't happy. Maybe she wasn't. Who's well really in their mind all the time? Who is there a person? I certainly don't know anybody, but you know, but still, she was well enough. She was performing. She was a working mother, and the only thing that's changed now is there is no one forcing her to take her medication. Period. She was forced to take medication, and clearly it worked. And that was the reason that she was in the conservatorship to begin with. I remember when that happened. It's not like she was just put in by mean old Pa, for no reason. That was a very hairy situation. I know trappings of fame, all that, but no, that her reaction, what led to it, um, you know, like, she was, uh, in grave danger. She was unwell, and they must have done something because she was stabilized and normal. And then as soon as she got off of it, like I said, if the judge had even been like, let's do a trial period, here's the list of medications, you know, did every doctor say they were unnecessary? I don't know. I mean, I don't know how that worked, but just to be like, all right, well, that's over with. There should have been a trial period, because to immediately get married, and you knew that guy wasn't right for her. You knew he wasn't, he just had something about him, to me, just had sleazy written all over him, because it was just too perfect. He was like just a typical opportunist. And you can see it in her damn eyes, okay? She is unwell. We have to be able to say it. We have to. She is unwell. Her hair, her eyes, her eye makeup, but her eyes themselves. And people are so such like sycophants. They're like, oh God, she's a clone. It's she's been replaced. And it's like, she hasn't been wearing her retainer, and just like basic things like that. To be honest, I wouldn't put anything past anyone, especially when it comes to like, who knows. I put nothing past the U.S. government. They did it to Marilyn. I don't think she died of natural causes or by an accidental overdose. They did it to Marilyn. Why wouldn't they do it to Brittany, or do something to a lot of these people? Um, and that's kind of what my point. You are going to sell your soul, or you are going to willingly give it away, or you are going to pay to have it taken off your hands. And what you pay with is your life. And that's kind of it. We all make a bargain, and people talk about celebrities selling their souls. But, if you don't take ownership of yourself, your psyche, your mind, your parameters, and your definitions of who the fuck you are and who the fuck you are not, then it will be decided for you. And I don't know. I hope I'm not like going to be triggering too many people with this, because people get really like testy about Brittany. And then Bill Maher, he was being an asshole. Oh, Brittany, you can tell she's off a rocker, and you can. The only time a woman like with her means would ever let her hair go. Maybe you don't feel like going to the salon. I would have a nail person, a hair person, a makeup person, all these people like on speed dial for days or weeks when it was time for like a touch up, and I didn't, want to go out in public. You could have people come to your house, but to be wearing to have disheveled hair, really, like the raccoon eyes. I know I do, because my eye makeup's for shit and I'm applying my own makeup. She could be professionally done. She could go barefaced. It's not about the damn makeup. It's about the fact that you can tell she's unwell by the visual cues, her actual eyes themselves, the actions themselves, the makeup, her eye makeup, the way it's smeared constantly. The only time I was like that is when I was having a mental health crisis and or a drug crisis. That's the only time. And as women, we care about these things, and when you are not in a clear headspace through drugs or just mental traumas, mental illness, you think in your head, oh man, I'm pulling it off, I look all right, or you might even think you look good, because you're skinny or because whatever, your minds, you're not thinking clearly, so your perception isn't clearly, so you don't see yourself in reality the way you are seen. And if you're a celebrity, it's even harder to be seen, to have reality like reflected back to you, because like I said, you don't surround yourself with people who say anything other than, like yes men, or in this case, like yes queen. And these Free Britney people, I mean, I wish one fan that was really part of that movement would be like, oh my God, Brittany, I am so sorry. I championed so hard for you to be off of your conservatorship, but you need to know that it's obvious you're unwell. It is obvious you're unwell. This is not living your best life. You look unhealthy physically. You look unhealthy in the face, in the hair, in your actions, in every way, shape, and form. It is clear that you are not doing whatever you were being forced to do in the conservatorship. And the only difference is medication, because it doesn't matter if she's retired now, or it doesn't matter if she's not taking public pictures with her kids at the beach on vacation. I'm talking about in actions. And that's why, somebody says that, but of course, oh, crickets, these people don't give a fuck, man. They don't. It's like they think they do, right? But it's just like this idol, this like, they might as well like be championing for, Daffy Duck or something, because it's like, to them, it's like she's like a goddess. It's like she's not like, oh man, a real person. Wait a second, why was she in that to begin with? Wait, was there a reason? There was a reason. I don't even know if I can like I feel like for some reason it would be like, I mean, shit. Did she not lock herself up in a bathroom, threatening to Andrea Yates, her and her two toddler boys? And at the time when it was time for Kevin to like get the boys or something, she had locked herself in a bathroom and was threatening to all of them. She was taken away, eyes wide, clearly in emotional distress, you know? And then she was under conservatorship, and she was a working mom for years. And then as soon as she got off of it, she's unwell again. And as women, it is so, it is so fucking hard. Mental health is kind of like I don't know, it's better than before, but does that make it good? No. The way we talk about mental health and address it, it's better than before. And just because something can be leaps and bounds better than it used to be, doesn't mean it's anywhere close to where it should be. Because the fact is that every mental health professional I ever saw, they just wanted me to be a junkie. It was just their type of junkie. It wasn't about addressing the root cause. It wasn't about, once again, Brittany has the money. She could afford to have these answers. Oh my God, if I was her, I would go to a Jungian psychologist, like a psychotherapist. I would do like sensory deprivation tanks, all this stuff that I think would be so helpful. I would have like somebody who would really help me like with yoga, but a lot of this stuff you can do from home. But man, I'd pay to have like the best of the best come in and be like, help me, you know, you could actually afford to have that talk therapy and get to the root of deep unhappiness, because that's what she looks like. She looks like a woman who is deeply in distress and deeply unhappy. And, I know what that feels like. And it's so frustrating that nobody cares anymore. It's like, and I was like, well, whoopsie daisy. But Bill Maher, he made that comment, oh yeah, Britney's a little off her rocker or whatever. And Sharon Osbourne, I think I've talked about this before because it really bothered me. Sharon Osbourne was like, hey, she's a victim. That's part of the problem. It's kind of like with talk therapy. It's better than before, but does that mean it's good? No, it does not. Um, very, I don't even want to say that. You don't have to be a victim, you know? It's a choice. It's a choice. It is a choice. You can be victimized in the past, you know, and we've all been victims in the past, even if it was just like victims of ourselves. But if you were a victim of yourself, why would you victimize yourself unless you were a victim of something bigger, destiny, the unluck of the draw, something, you know? If you have to punish yourself at any moment in time, then, you know, how can you even be like to blame, if that makes any sense? But we have to say, my God, not anymore. You know, I've done this in the past. I've been this way in the past. Not anymore. I'm not going to be this fucking victim. And that's it. It is. It's, you know, victims are weak. They are weak, broken people. And that makes victims so easy to use and abuse and continue to victimize. It has to be up to us. And, you know, and if you're a woman who has a personality disorder, I have had no luck with getting any type of professional help to actually make it easier for me to live with myself, live within myself. I have had no luck with that. Everyone I ever went to see wanted just to medicate me. And they really pushed the bipolar thing because you can take a pill for bipolar. But if it's a personality disorder, that's just saying, oh, you're officially fucked up. And by the way, there's nothing we can do with it. So you have to learn to live with it. But the way that I am learning to live with myself is to say, you know what? I am not going to be a victim of the external or a victim of myself. Um, I'm not going to allow myself to be controlled by anything external. That goes in back to the serenity prayer too. Accept what you cannot change, change what you can, the wisdom to know the difference, which is really like the wisdom and the discernment to know the difference. Um, you know, control what you can. And when you actually consciously sit down and make those parameters for yourself, then you don't have to fucking just scream out in pain and have conscious waking life be like an expression of agony where it's like, God, I have to fucking poison myself so I can feel less, so I can feel control, so I can feel something, a little bit of a like a reprieve from like just the chaos in my head. And chaos is also quite the love affair, as I talked about a couple videos back. But just to consciously say, like, I can define some things about myself. And the minute you take that agency, that autonomy, that self love, that declaration that, hey, I haven't given up on myself, and I'll be damned if anybody else for 1 second more, any drug, any relationship, anything, fuck the past, you know, fuck everybody. I'm going to tell me about myself, you know, and we will take it from there. And it's that type of like self love and agency and those parameters. Um, Borderline personality disorder, all these fucking labels, they do not expand or enhance our understanding. They define our fucking parameters. They are boxes. And it's like we are all just like these little boxes of victimhood and pain and trauma and hurt. And God, and look at Brittany. You know, I saw a video, these fucking wacky ass videos. She is unwell, you know, but you can't do anything for Brittany. You can't do anything for if you love someone who's in addiction, or, you know, anyone else. But maybe you can say, hey, I'm not going to be that person. I'm not going to be the person I was, you know, in the past. I am going to take a little bit of control, agency, self-love, ownership in myself, and then trust that I will have the wisdom, forgiveness, presence, you know, discernment of mind and heart whatever is needed. I'm going to trust that I will have what I need in the moment to take the next right step, and then the next right step will happen. Um, so, yeah, I just wanted to share that. I hope that wasn't too much of a rant. Y'all have a good night.